First of all, you can now tag bone layers with color, or tag bones with colors. So if I select a bone with the Select Bone tool, up here I have a new pop-up menu that lets me assign a color to each bone. This is purely for your own use. You may want to tag smart bones for organizational purposes, or tag different, dynamic bones, dynamic, just so you sort of know how your rig is set up. You can color them in some way that's meaningful for you to help keep yourself organized. So I think that's gonna be pretty handy. Now, the next thing is, let's look at this silly character. He moves as we would expect. The bones move and the vector shapes move in response to those bones. So this is fine when I'm moving the arms, but if I start moving the legs of this character, you'll notice that the leg artwork does not move with the leg bones. If we take a look at the layers palette, we can see why that is. Here's the bone layer, and the legs are in this layer down here, which is a child of a child of a child of the bone layer. Now there's been a rule in Anime Studio forever that a bone layer can only control its direct children. So this bone layer can control this child, this is the arms, and if we look down here, this child, the body, is a direct child of the bone layer, but the legs are wrapped up in multiple layers of groups. So what can we do about that? In Anime Studio 9.3, you can go in, double-click a bone layer to get the layer settings dialog, and in the Bones tab, we have a new checkbox, Allow Deep Descendant Control. If anybody has a suggestion for a better name, this is not the final thing yet. But anyway, let's turn that on. And now, this bone layer can control not only its direct children, but down within multiple group layers, it can control other vector layers. So there's really no limit. You can have as many nested group layers as you want. And this bone layer can now reach down there and control the artwork that's inside a child of a child of a child. So this is pretty cool. It allows you to organize your characters much more flexibly than you could before. So what are some of the reasons you'd want to do that? Well, the first is simply for organization. So now you can break up your character into groups within groups, however you want to, and the bones can reach down there and work with them. You can also create groups for masking purposes. So you might want a group within a layer that has some kind of masking setup, but it can be independent from the other layers, the other children of the bone layer. You can also use switch groups. So here we have a switch group that has two versions of a leg, a green leg and a sort of sketchy leg. And during the animation, I switch the legs back and forth. But the bone layer up here can control both of them because it's reaching down to its deep descendants. Smart bones also work through this system. So this bone right here is B3, and it has a smart bone action set up. You can see that as I move this bone, as I bend it, the line width along this part of the vector outline changes. And you wouldn't realize this right away, but the inside joint of this leg is also being corrected through this smart bone action. And these are all part of this vector layer down here. You can also use subgroups for organizing layer effects, like shading, layer outlines, blur, layer shadows, that kind of thing. Now let's look at another layer up here. This is the bone layer I've been working with, but a couple parents up, I have another bone layer. And this one just has a single bone in it. Doesn't seem to be doing anything, but it's actually a smart bone, and it has this, it's called idle. If I turn on deep descendant control for this layer, then this bone has a smart action that is reaching down and controlling the bones in this layer here. And then this layer reaches down through its children and controls layers way down here. So it's sort of a multiple levels of control. This idle action is just sort of a little wiggly thing going on that when I play it back, it just wiggles the whole character as it goes through the rest of its animation. You could do that previously by having this bone in the same layer as the rest of the skeleton, but the deep descendant control allows you to isolate it. So this layer is the actual skeleton for the character, and then up here is a layer with higher level controls, just one of them right now, but this could be filled with multiple smart bones for turning the character, you know, deforming it in various ways. So I think that's about it. Colored bones and deep descendant control, where a bone can reach down into children of children of children and control things all throughout the hierarchy.